Jake Harper opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt, and he saw sparks and smoke everywhere. He was strapped into his pilot seat, feeling confused. He remembered he had been flying the spaceship, but something went terribly wrong. The controls failed. Alarms went wild, and suddenly everything went dark. Jake shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. He unbuckled his seatbelt carefully and stood up. The spaceship was a mess. Broken screens flickered with static, wires hung loose, and the air smelled burnt. He moved cautiously, checking if anything was still working. The radio was completely dead, and his heart sank. He was stranded in space, far from anyone who could help him. He looked outside through the cracked window. He was on a strange asteroid, covered with dark rocks and a mysterious purple dust. The sky above was a deep, unfamiliar blue, scattered with stars he had never seen before. Jake knew he had to find a way to repair the ship quickly, or he might never leave this place. As he moved around the wreckage, something made a noise behind him. Jake spun quickly, his heart racing. Was someone else there? He grabbed a nearby metal tool, gripping it tightly, ready to defend himself. He slowly walked toward the noise, stepping over fallen debris and loose wires. In the dim light, he saw movement again. It was a figure lying under a pile of wreckage. Jake rushed forward, dropping the tool and lifting away metal parts and panels. To his surprise, the person was not human. It was an alien, a female alien, with shimmering skin that shifted gently from pale blue to purple. Her hair was long and silver, tangled in the debris around her. Jake hesitated, unsure what to do. She moved slightly, groaning softly in pain. He quickly made a decision. He cleared away more debris, carefully helping her sit up. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing eyes the color of gold. She stared at him, looking both confused and frightened. "Don't worry," Jake said softly, trying to reassure her. "I won't hurt you. I'm Jake. We seem to be stuck here together." She looked at him carefully, studying his face. Slowly, she seemed to relax a bit. "I am Zilara," she whispered softly. "Thank you for helping me." Jake nodded and smiled gently. "We need to figure out how to fix this ship. Are you hurt badly?" Zilara touched her side and winced slightly, shaking her head. "I will heal, but my energy is low." Jake helped her stand, noticing how weak she was. He supported her gently, guiding her to a more comfortable place to sit. He quickly checked the food storage, relieved to see emergency food supplies intact. He offered some to her, but she shook her head sadly. "I cannot eat that," she explained. Quietly, her voice full of regret. "My people feed on something different." Jake was puzzled. "What can I get you?" "We have limited supplies here." She paused, looking embarrassed. "My species. We feed on emotional essence. Positive feelings, like trust and kindness, give us energy." Jake stared at her, trying to understand. "You mean just by feeling emotions, I can help you get stronger?" Zilara nodded slowly. "Being around someone kind, someone who trusts and cares. That gives me strength." Jake smiled slightly. "Well, then we better become friends quickly." She smiled back softly, her eyes warming. Jake felt oddly calm despite their situation. He knew that staying calm and positive would be good for both of them. Together, they started checking the ship more carefully. Jake explained the different parts and showed Zilara how humans fix spaceships. She listened closely, asking questions occasionally. Every time Jake smiled or laughed, Zilara looked healthier and stronger. As hours passed, Jake realized how different yet similar they were. Both stranded, both needing each other's help. It felt strange yet good, sharing this moment with someone from a different world. He knew that survival depended not only on fixing the spaceship, but on understanding, caring for each other. As they worked side by side, Jake felt hopeful. The task was huge, but they weren't alone. Despite the vast darkness of space around them, Jake felt warmth and comfort standing next to Zilara. He promised himself they would find a way home, no matter how long it took. And deep inside, He knew this journey had already changed him forever. Jake woke up early the next day, feeling stiff from sleeping in an awkward position. He stretched and looked around the spaceship. It was still a mess, but at least it felt familiar now. The strange asteroid outside looked less frightening as sunlight gently lit its rocky surface. He saw Zilara sitting quietly near a window, staring into space. "Good morning," Jake said, moving toward her. She turned and smiled softly. "Good morning, Jake. How do you feel today?" he asked, noticing her skin had regained a healthier glow. "Better, thanks to you," she said warmly. "Your emotions have nourished me. I am stronger now." Jake laughed lightly, still finding the idea fascinating. "Happy to help." They quickly ate some breakfast. Jake had his emergency rations, and Zilara sat close, seeming to absorb strength from his positive mood. After eating, they started work again. Jake focused on repairing the spaceship's communication system, hoping to send a distress signal. Zilara watched closely, eager to learn. "Your tools are very interesting," she commented, examining the small devices Jake used to fix the circuits. "We humans love building things," Jake explained. "It's how we survive. My people create too," Zilara shared. "But we use our minds, shaping our world with thoughts." "It is much different." Jake paused, surprised and curious. "That sounds amazing. Maybe you can teach me sometime." Zilara's eyes brightened. "I would like that." Hours passed, and the work went slowly. Every now and then, Jake took a break to chat or rest, feeling refreshed by Zilara's company. He shared stories about Earth, describing oceans, mountains, and cities filled with people. Zilara listened with wide eyes, captivated by his descriptions. "Your home sounds beautiful," she said softly, a hint of sadness in her voice. "What about your world?" Jake asked, gently encouraging her. Zilara hesitated, then sighed. "It was beautiful, too, once, but our planet suffered greatly. Our people scattered to survive. I have been traveling alone, searching for a safe place." Jake felt a deep sense of sympathy. "I'm sorry. That must have been difficult." "It was," Zilara said quietly. "But meeting you has given me hope again." Jake smiled reassuringly. "We'll find a way out of here, Zilara. Together." She smiled back, visibly strengthened by his resolve. Encouraged, they resumed their repairs. By evening, Jake managed to get the communication device partially functioning. He carefully activated it, listening for any sign of life. Only static filled the air. Jake sighed, disappointed. "At least it's a start," he said, trying to stay optimistic. Zilara gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done well, Jake. Tomorrow we will do more." Her touch was comforting, and Jake felt his worries fade slightly. He realized that her presence was helping him as much as his emotions were helping her. It was strange and comforting at the same time. They ate quietly, enjoying each other's company. Jake talked about his childhood memories, recalling simple days with his family. Zilara listened, her golden eyes full of wonder. "You humans are interesting," she finally said. "You find joy in simple things." "Sometimes the simple things matter the most," Jake replied warmly. Night fell again, and Jake felt exhaustion take over. They prepared makeshift sleeping areas, comfortable enough for the night. Before drifting off, Jake glanced at Zilara. "Thank you, Zilara," he whispered softly, "for being here." "And thank you, Jake," she replied gently, "for giving me hope." As Jake closed his eyes, he felt surprisingly peaceful. Even trapped on this strange asteroid, he was no longer alone. He knew tomorrow would bring more challenges, but somehow, facing them with Zilara made it feel possible. As the spaceship settled into silence, Jake dreamed of home, but this time Zilara stood beside him, sharing in the beauty of his memories. He smiled in his sleep, not realizing how closely their lives had become intertwined. And as Zilara watched him quietly, her strength grew stronger, fed not only by his emotions, but by her growing care for the human who had become her lifeline. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, united by trust, friendship, and an ever-deepening bond. The next morning, Jake and Zilara woke to a soft humming noise from the spaceship. Jake quickly sat up, startled but hopeful. He went directly to the communication panel, checking if anything new had happened overnight. To his surprise, the screen was flickering faintly, trying to come to life. Zilara came beside him, looking at the screen carefully. "Is this good?" she asked. Jake nodded eagerly. "It means the system is trying to fix itself. It might work soon." Together, they spent the morning repairing more parts of the spaceship. Jake explained each step clearly to Zilara, who listened closely, understanding more each day. Her curiosity and excitement made Jake happy. It was nice having someone with him who truly cared about their progress. By noon, Jake felt tired and hungry. He took a short break, eating quietly. Zilara sat near, absorbing strength from his calm and content feelings. Jake noticed she seemed brighter, healthier. The connection between them was becoming stronger every day. "What if someone finds us?" Zilara suddenly asked, her voice soft and worried. "Will we have to leave each other?" Jake paused, feeling a deep sense of sadness at the thought. He had not considered this yet. "I don't know," he admitted quietly. "But we'll find a way to stay connected, I promise." She smiled warmly, comforted by his reassurance. They returned to work soon after, determined to keep their spirits high. Jake showed her how humans created small devices, little things that could help them survive. Zilara learned quickly, surprising Jake with her skill. As they worked, Zilara described more about her home planet. She spoke about tall crystal mountains, glowing lakes, and forests that shimmered in the sunlight. Jake listened carefully, imagining the beauty she described. Her words painted vivid pictures in his mind, and he found himself wishing he could see her world one day. "I hope your world recovers," Jake said sincerely. "Maybe we can go there someday." Zilara's golden eyes sparkled. "I would like that very much." Suddenly, a loud beep startled them. The communication panel was fully activated, flashing clearly. Jake rushed over, quickly checking it. The system was ready to send a distress signal. "It worked!" Jake shouted happily. He quickly entered a message describing their location and asking for help. He pressed send, and they watched the screen anxiously. Seconds later, a confirmation message appeared, showing their signal was sent successfully. Jake felt relief wash over him. He turned to Zilara, grinning broadly. "Someone will come soon," he said confidently. Zilara smiled softly, but Jake noticed worry in her eyes. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. She nodded slowly. "I'm just afraid of what happens next." Jake stepped closer, gently touching her shoulder. "We'll figure it out together," he said warmly. "We've already faced so much." She nodded, visibly comforted by his words. Jake felt his own worries ease slightly. As evening approached, they continued small repairs, preparing the spaceship for rescue. Jake explained how rescue missions usually worked, trying to reassure Zilara. "Humans help each other," Jake explained simply. "They'll understand and help us both." She listened closely, trusting him completely. After their work, they sat quietly, enjoying the peace of the asteroid. Jake looked at the stars, wondering about his family back on Earth. He missed them, but was grateful for this unexpected friendship with Zilara. "Jake," Zilara spoke softly, breaking his thoughts, "do humans ever accept beings like me?" Jake smiled, gently, seeing her concern. "We try our best. It might take time, but many humans believe we can learn from others." "I hope you're right," she whispered, leaning slightly closer. Jake felt warmth spread through him, knowing their friendship was becoming more than he had expected. He felt responsible for Zilara, determined to protect her no matter what came. Next, as night fell, they prepared their sleeping areas again. Before lying down, Jake looked deeply into Zilara's eyes, reassuring her silently. She smiled softly, clearly feeling his support and strength. They fell asleep under the gentle glow of distant stars, comforted by each other's presence. They knew rescue was coming, but both felt uncertain about their future. However, neither doubted their bond would remain strong. No matter where the stars took them. In the silence of space, the spaceship hummed quietly, sending out a gentle beacon of hope into the vast universe, promising help and a chance for a new beginning for two very different souls who had found something extraordinary together. Jake woke suddenly, feeling something had changed. He sat up quickly, looking around the spaceship. It was early, and Zilara was already awake, standing by the window, staring outside with wide eyes. Jake hurried to join her, his heart beating. Fast out outside, far away in the dark sky, he saw small moving lights. A spaceship was coming toward them, its lights blinking clearly. Jake felt excited but also nervous. Rescue was finally here. "They're coming," Zilara whispered, her voice shaky. Jake touched her arm gently, calming her. "It'll be okay," he said softly, though he felt uncertain too. They prepared quickly, making sure their belongings and tools were packed. Jake double-checked the communication system, sending another signal just to be sure. Then they waited quietly, watching the rescue ship come closer. As the spaceship approached, Jake realized it was a large human vessel. Relief flooded through him, but he felt Zilara tense beside him. He knew she was afraid. He turned to her, looking deeply into her worried golden eyes. "Zilara, I promise I won't let anyone hurt you," he said firmly. She smiled softly, clearly. Trusting him. "I know, Jake." Soon, the rescue ship landed carefully near their damaged spaceship. Its doors opened slowly, and two humans stepped out, wearing protective suits. Jake walked out first, waving to them in relief. "Thank goodness you're here," Jake called out, smiling. "Are you Jake Harper?" one of the rescuers asked, his voice friendly through the helmet. "Yes, that's me," Jake replied. "We got your signal," the other rescuer explained. "Glad we found you in time." Jake turned, motioning to Zilara. She slowly stepped out, clearly nervous. The rescuers paused, surprised at seeing an alien with Jake. "Who is this?" one of them asked cautiously. "This is Zilara," Jake said calmly. "She was stranded with me. She's helped me survive here." The rescuers exchanged quick glances, clearly uncertain how to respond. "We'll take you both on board," the first rescuer finally said. Sounding unsure. Inside the rescue ship, Jake and Zilara were shown to a small room. The crew seemed nervous around Zilara, avoiding her eyes and speaking quietly among themselves. Jake felt protective of her, staying close and reassuring her softly. Soon, the captain of the rescue ship came to see them. She was a tall, calm woman named Captain Lara. She studied Zilara carefully before speaking. "Jake, you must understand," Lara said gently. "We haven't encountered her species before. The crew is worried." "Zilara is peaceful," Jake insisted firmly. "She saved my life out there. She relies on emotions for nourishment. She won't harm anyone." Lara looked thoughtful. "Emotional nourishment? That's new. We'll try to understand better. But she must stay confined to this area for now, for everyone's safety." Jake nodded slowly, feeling sad for Zilara. After Lara left, he sat with Zilara, trying to comfort her. "It'll take time," he said softly. "Humans fear what they don't know, but they'll see you're good." Zilara nodded slowly, though she seemed unsure. "I trust you, Jake," she whispered. Softly. Hours passed quietly. The rescue ship moved smoothly through space, heading back to a human colony. Jake stayed close to Zilara, sharing stories and keeping her hopeful. But he could see the confinement weighed heavily on her. One evening, Jake overheard crew members talking worriedly. They questioned if Zilara was dangerous and discussed isolating her permanently. Jake felt anger and fear rise inside him. He couldn't let this happen. Determined, Jake went to Captain Lara, explaining how Zilara had saved his life and helped repair the ship. "She needs freedom and kindness, not isolation," Jake pleaded passionately. Lara listened carefully, finally nodding slowly. "We'll watch and learn. but she must prove she's safe. Jake returned to Zalara, relieved yet worried. We must show them you're not a threat, he explained gently. Be patient. Show them who you are. Days passed, and Zalara quietly showed kindness and cooperation, helping crew members understand her. She shared small demonstrations of her peaceful abilities, helping to calm nervous crew members with her gentle presence. Slowly, the humans began to accept her, asking questions and learning from her calm wisdom. Jake felt proud and hopeful. Each day, Zylara's presence became normal, her kindness clear to everyone. Jake knew it was still uncertain, but he saw hope. They were facing this new challenge together, overcoming fears and building trust among the humans as they approached the human colony. Jake and Zalara stood together, watching the colony's bright lights appear in the distance. Both knew more. Challenges lay ahead, but they felt stronger together, ready to face whatever the future might hold. The rescue ship finally arrived at the human colony. It was a large space station orbiting a calm green planet. Lights blinked on tall towers, and small ships moved in and out of hangars. Jake stood beside Zalara as the ship docked. She looked nervous but stayed close to him. We're here, Jake said softly. Everything will be all right. Zalara nodded slowly. I will stay with you. They stepped off the rescue ship and entered the colony. People stared at Zalara. Some looked surprised, others looked scared. Jake could feel the tension in the air. He held Zalara's hand, wanting her to feel safe. An officer guided them through the halls. They entered a room with a few doctors and scientists. The room was quiet. Jake introduced Zalara and explained her story again. He talked about how she helped him survive and how she needed emotional energy to stay alive. The scientist asked many questions. Zalara answered politely. Her calm voice and peaceful words slowly changed the mood in the room. The scientists seemed more curious than afraid now. Later, Jake and Zalara were given a small room to stay in. It had a bed, a table, and a window showing stars in the distance. Zalara sat down looking tired. I didn't expect them to stare so much, she said. Softly, they just don't understand yet, Jake replied. But they will. You're showing them who you are. In the next few days, Zalara was studied carefully. She agreed to tests and interviews, always staying calm and kind. The scientists learned that her energy needs were not dangerous. In fact, they realized that Zalara became stronger when people simply spoke kindly or shared. Happy memories with her. Jake stayed with her every day. He helped explain things, told stories about their time on the asteroid, and showed how much they trusted each other. Slowly, the colony people started to accept her. Some even began visiting her room, just to talk. Children were especially curious. One little girl brought Zalara a flower and asked if her planet had flowers too. Zalara smiled warmly. Yes, many flowers. Some even glow at night. Jake watched these small moments and felt proud. Zalara was showing everyone that kindness could cross even the stars. One day, Captain Laura came to speak with him. She sat across from Jake and Zalara and looked serious but calm. You've both been through a lot, she said. The council has decided you can stay here for now. Zalara will be given a protected status. She is not considered a threat. Jake let out a breath of relief. Zalara looked thankful. Thank you, Captain, she said. However, Laura continued, there are still people who are unsure. We'll need your help to build trust. Jake nodded. We're ready. We just want peace. Over the next few weeks, Jake and Zalara worked with the people of the colony. They shared more about her culture, her world, and her abilities. They gave talks and helped in community events. Zalara taught the children how to make glowing art. Just like on her planet, people started to smile when they saw her. She was no longer a strange visitor. She was part of their community. Jake felt happy. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he belonged too. Not just as a pilot or engineer, but as someone who brought two worlds together. Late one evening, Jake and Zalara sat outside the main hall, looking at the stars. Do you miss your world? Jake asked quietly. Zalara looked up at the sky. Yes, I do, but I don't feel alone anymore. Not with you. Jake smiled. We'll make a new home here. One day maybe your people and mine will build something together. Zalara nodded slowly. That would be beautiful. They sat in silence for a while, feeling the soft breeze from the station's artificial air system. Even in a place far from Earth, and far from Zylara's lost planet, they felt peace. Jake looked at her and thought about how strange and wonderful this journey had been. He had crashed alone and afraid, and now he was part of something much bigger. He had found friendship, trust, and something that felt like the beginning of a new future. As they stood to leave, Zalara took his hand gently. Thank you, Jake, she said. He smiled. Thank you, Zalara, for everything. And together, they walked back into the lights of the human colony, ready for the next chapter of their story. Weeks passed in the human colony, and Jake and Zalara settled into a simple, peaceful routine. Every morning, they helped in the colony garden, and in the afternoons, they joined the science teams who were still learning about Zylara's species. People were now more friendly, and some even looked forward to seeing them each day. One day, Zalara was invited to speak at the colony's learning center. She stood in front of a group of children and adults, sharing stories of her world. She spoke about the singing winds of her mountains, the lakes that glowed at night, and the way her people used emotion as both language and energy. Jake stood at the back of the room, watching her with pride. He remembered the day he first saw her, weak and afraid under broken metal. Now she stood tall, glowing gently with life, her voice strong and calm. She had become a bridge between two worlds. After her talk, many people came forward to ask questions. They wanted to know more about her powers, about her people, and about the way she shared energy. Zalara answered kindly, always smiling. Children gave her drawings they had made, and one young boy handed her a necklace made of small stones. For you, the boy said. You're our friend now. Zalara took it gently. Thank you, she said, touched by the gesture. Later that evening, Jake and Zalara walked through the quiet halls of the colony. Zalara held the necklace in her hand. It is strange, she said. I never thought I would feel home again, but now I feel it here. Jake smiled. Sometimes home is not a place. It's the people around you. Zalara looked at him with soft eyes. You gave me hope, Jake. Without you, I would have faded long ago. He looked at her kindly. And you saved me too, more than once. But not everyone. And the colony felt the same. A small group of people still feared Zylara's powers. They thought it was dangerous to allow an alien who fed on emotions to stay close to humans. One day, a message appeared on the colony's main board, asking for a meeting to vote on Zylara's status. Jake was shocked. After all she's done, they still doubt her. Zalara looked calm, but Jake could feel her sadness. Fear takes time to heal, she said quietly. The day of the meeting arrived. The hall was full. Jake stood beside Zalara as the council spoke. Some people spoke in support, sharing stories of how Zalara had helped their children, how she had brought peace and beauty to their lives. Others spoke with worry, saying it was dangerous to trust what they didn't fully understand. Jake stepped forward when it was his turn. I know Zalara, he said firmly. She saved my life. She taught me to trust again. She is not a danger. She is a gift. We can learn so much from her if we just open our hearts. The room was quiet. People looked at each other, thinking. The council left for a short time, then returned with their decision. Zalara would be allowed to stay, not just as a guest, but as a member of the colony. She could help in teaching and research and would be offered a permanent place to live. Jake smiled, full of joy. Zalara took his hand, her eyes bright. We did it, he whispered. Together, she replied. The days that followed were filled with celebration. The colony held a small festival where Zalara showed her glowing art and shared music from her world. People danced and laughed. For the first time, Jake saw everyone together, not as humans and alien, But as one group died at the end of the night, Zalara and Jake stood under the stars again. "Do you still want to go back to Earth?" she asked. Jake looked up at the sky. "I don't." "No," he said. "Maybe someday. But right now, this feels right. Being here with you." Zalara smiled. "Then let this be our beginning." And as the stars shined above them, Jake knew their journey was not ending. It was only just beginning, full of hope, friendship, and the bright light of a future they would build together. The days in the colony slowly turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Jake and Zalara had become part of everyday life in the colony. People greeted them with smiles. Children waved when they passed. Scientists asked Zalara for help, and she always gave it kindly. Jake worked with the engineers again. He helped build new systems for communication and travel. But he also gave talks about trust and friendship between different beings. People listened to him, not just because he had survived something hard, but because they saw the bond between him and Zalara. One evening, Jake was walking back from the gardens when he saw Zalara waiting near the large crystal fountain in the pod. Middle of the colony square. She wore a long, soft robe that shimmered in the lights. Her eyes were gentle, but her smile held something deeper. "You look thoughtful," Jake said, sitting beside her. Zalara looked at the stars. "I have been thinking about the others like me," she said quietly. "There are many scattered across space. Lost, weak, alone." Jake listened carefully. He knew her. Voice changed slightly when she talked about her people. It always carried a bit of sadness. "I want to find them," she said. "I want to help them the way you helped me." Jake nodded. "Then we'll find them together." Zalara looked surprised. "You will come with me? Even leave this place?" Jake smiled. "Of course." "This place is safe, but your people need you. You need to find your home. And wherever you go, that's home for me too." Zalara reached for his hand. "You have given me more than energy, Jake. You gave me purpose." The next day, they went to Captain Laura. Jake explained their plan to build a small ship that could travel long distances, a ship that could search the stars for others like Zalara. Laura listened quietly. "It's dangerous out there," she warned, "but I understand, and I support you. We'll help you build what you need." Many people from the colony helped. Engineers, doctors, scientists, and even young students joined the project. They wanted to return the kindness that Jake and Zalara had shown. The ship took months to build. It was small, fast, and filled with the best tools they had. Zalara designed parts of it using her people's style, mixing her technology with human systems. It looked like a ship from both worlds. When the ship was ready, the whole colony gathered to see them off. There were speeches, music, and even tears. Children gave Zalara small drawings to carry with her. Jake hugged the friends he had made. "Come back and tell us your stories," one boy said. Jake smiled. "We will." Zalara stood beside him, her eyes full of light. "Thank you," she said to the crowd. "You have shown me that even far from home, kindness can grow." The ship rose slowly, engines glowing soft blue. Jake looked out the window and saw the colony growing smaller. He felt a mix of sadness and hope. They were leaving something good behind, but heading towards something greater. As the stars stretched before them, Zalara touched a glowing crystal on the control panel. A soft hum filled the cabin. "This will help us sense others like me," she explained. "If they're close, we'll feel their energy." Jake looked at her, "And we'll find them, one by one." They traveled from system to system. In some places, they found nothing. In others, they found signs, small signals, old messages. Even a quiet planet with plants that Zalara recognized. Each step brought more hope. Then one day, they found a ship drifting alone in space. Inside was a young alien, weak and afraid. Zalara held her hand, and Jake smiled as he watched the girl's eyes slowly open. She looked at them with wonder. "You're safe now," Zalara whispered. They brought her aboard. And soon after, They found another, then two more. Zalara spoke to them in her language, and Jake helped them feel welcome. Their ship became more than just a search tool. It became a new home. Jake and Zalara had started something beautiful, a mission of peace, a journey of healing, a new beginning. And as the stars passed by their window each night, they knew their work had meaning. They had each other. They had hope. And now they had others to care for. In a quieter space, among the stars, a human and an alien led a path. Light that would guide many. Together they weren't just surviving, they were building a future.